Whoa, we are back for some Bleach Soul Resonance. I'm going to be doing a fight in the Konjiki event. This boss is a little bit annoying. He's a little bit cumbersome, I'd say. I'm sure a lot of people, are aware that he has some hitboxes, some hurtboxes that are very odd. Some, knockover attacks that get a little cumbersome to sort of work our rotations around. But I figured a not perfect run, a very imperfect, like, here is just the baseline. Here is what your Kenpachi will look like if you just have him dupe 0, boundary 0, weapon 0, and core stamp 0, or core stamp 1, I guess, without any sort of frills or anything. It's not a perfect run by any means, but I didn't want it to be. I didn't go in and farm like a, this is exactly what Kenpachi will look like if you play perfectly run. I'm still very much getting used to his buffs, and speaking of his buffs, it is going to be tied to his core stamp here primarily, which is when casting the special attack, Rampage Raid, gain 1 stack of a buff that increases crit rate by 10%, so up to 20% for 30 seconds. Very, 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 very powerful. A 70% crit rate is what my Kenpachi is rocking when he actually has this active, which is about where I'd say your crits start to get really, really consistent. Mind you, I do not actually have a level 30 piece here either. This is still on a 5 piece with like a level 25 stat, so I'm still looking for maybe a more perfect for my standards piece. I am still free to play, so we'll be doing a bit of farming after I'm done recording this. Actually, the daily just reset, so you're gonna see a bunch of red dots on my screen everywhere. But yeah, Kenpachi is really, really, really good. I think he feels really solid. He feels like an obvious, just dominant tool, and I can't wait for the Konjiki boss to go live actually tomorrow. That way I can actually place. We can see what my solo score looks like. Obviously much less than a 600 million B6 weapon 6 core stamp 6 player, but as a free to play, I do think Kenpachi does more than his fair share and convinces us that he is definitely worth the actual investment. Again, back to Kenpachi himself, we have essentially everything at level 100, barring, we're missing a few skills. So this is actually pretty important. Again, I haven't done my dailies today. Once I do my dailies, I'll grab the rest of this resource. I'll grab the rest of this resource probably. And we'll actually, get ourselves slotted out here as well. We have one more to do there. So that is a big thing. So mind you, we are still rocking with just a smidgen, few percentages off. But just to confirm, by the way, Ascension 1 weapon, boundary 0, and stamp 1. Right. So yes, that is my Kenpachi. We'll go through his stats one more time. 72% crit rate, 80% crit damage. That could definitely be a little higher. His attack stat is massive at 5,060, and his ailment damage is at a pretty minor 38% with a 40% slash damage bonus. Not bad at all. If I could replace any of my gear, I do like the idea of using an ultimate damage or ultimate recharge rate main stat here, especially because Kenpachi really doesn't need extra attack percent. He gets more than enough attack percent, so maybe having something to help out with his ult charge would be nice, especially because we don't have it on any pieces. So that is probably what I would be farming for. I'd be looking to replace one of these defensive stats with one of it, or maybe get a main stat, but we'll have to see what we get. I'm looking forward to accumulating resources and not doing too much more farming, if I'm honest, because Kenpachi took a lot. Getting characters to 100 is not something I would recommend free-to-plays do very often. And so if you're wondering if you should be the person who's like, oh, go to 100% on all of my characters, do not do that. 90 is a great stopping point. 80 is also a great stopping point. 70 and 60 for supports feels great as well. We'll be running him with the Aizen and the Yodahara. The reason Aizen is currently so good, and this is what we'll be looking for come the third, when we see, I guess, by the way, spoiler, I'm not recording this after the live stream, but come the release of Nellel, sometime during this month or next month or whenever they decide to release her based on IP law, we're looking for another tactics character who is a little greedy on field. The great thing about Aizen is that he is a little bit more greedy on field than someone like Tosin, but that greed works perfect with Kenpachi, who gets to use his attacks, swap out, and still be doing those attacks, right? That is great for Kenpachi. That is phenomenal. So I would like to hopefully see a world where maybe Nellel or whoever comes after, a tactics character after a supporting character of any kind, is a little greedier with their on-screen presence. That way, Kenpachi gets plenty of time to just rotate through his big swinging animations. That is the thing by far I've seen with Byakuya that feels the worst, is that he kind of just doesn't want to be there, and Yotahara doesn't want to be there, so Aizen is just easily the pick. Also, Aizen's just a much better character, but let's get into the actual runs. And here we are for the actual fight, the main event here. We've got us going up against the worm here. Boy, this worm is pretty annoying, ain't he? He's pretty annoying. He has those weird, sort of unwieldy attacks that are, they feel a bit odd to dodge. Sometimes you can dodge into them and just get no, freebie Shunpo or flat lightning steps or whatever it is. The actual window is where you get a bunch of invincibility frames for a while. But yeah, here you can see us swapping in and out pretty cleanly, getting our rotations up. We decide to delay a little bit just so we can get the Aizen on Kenpachi, go around here. So there we go. We swing in, we switch to Aizen, and we start going insane. We do decide to save the ultimate from Aizen. That way we can get a big, send off here. So this is just us going, and we're going to use everything here. We're going to cash out. I will say that I am definitely not perfect at these rotations yet. I haven't done a lot of time, in the lab waiting, sitting around and really practicing them. So this is all definitely by feel, but we do get a good rotation here as we get the third slap during the Shikai and go right into a little bit more of what we expect, right? So boom, 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 ult. And we're going to do the same with Kenpachi, going right into the ult, getting a ton of damage. Let's see, I can't remember if this is the one where I mess up slightly or if not, but I mean 1.5 million there and just going and going. And as Giku always says, that damage that you just saw does not actually count the weapon, or is it the core stamp? One of them is not factored into this. So whatever that 2.6 million is not actually what that number is, which is just crazy. But I mean, there you have it. That's a bomb of a rotation just to start this one off with. And I am definitely, what would I say? I would say that as of right now, as you're sort of watching this, you can feel me not having my rotation down quite smoothly. When you see me play Gin and I do showcases of Gin, you can definitely tell that I'm way more comfortable with Gin, right? I'm swapping in and out, I'm getting all the rotations, I'm hitting my marks, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing my combos. Here you can definitely tell I'm thinking, I'm going, oh wait, did I have this up yet? Did I have this up yet? And that is sort of the thing holding even this run back, even though I think this run was pretty good, is you can definitely tell I'm having multiple moments where I'm like, oh, did I use this yet? Did I have this up? Should I go into ult yet? Should I go into this yet? And that is definitely going to be something that is very important to sort of iron out of my system. I know I mess up one of these ults somewhere. It might be this one. So let's see. Who do I swatch to? So I go to Kenpachi, and right here I go, oh shit, where's my ult? and I have that moment, and then, we pick it back up, thankfully. I think I messed something up here, but 1.7 million essentially there for that ultimate. It said 1.69, so oh no, looks like I got it. And boom, 2.7 up to 4.8 with everything up is just absolutely nuts, considering this is a B0 everything Kenpachi. This Kenpachi has nothing particular about him that is wailed or duped or anything. And he is still missing what I would call a pretty pivotal third piece. I know you could be like, oh, how much more damage could you stretch out of it? But if I did actually 6-star that third piece, I'm pretty sure we'd be doing at least a consistent, maybe 3 million on the regular ult, without him being broken, without him being in, particularly, best case scenario. Here we go. So again, I feel like this run's going pretty well. We get into Kenpachi. I could remember one of them. I was panicking a little bit to get the rotation off, but I can't remember which one. But boom, we get it there. Oh, this spot is so slow. Look how slow this is. Like, as I said before, like, do not consider this a run where this is just so unachievable and this is like perfect conditions. This is definitely not perfect conditions, but we do get right back into the flow of things. Do I remember to ult again with Yodahara? Because like I said, there is an ult in here, I believe, that was not perfect, and it hurts me to my soul that it was not. But we'll see. Oh, I did not ult with Yodahara. I think it's this one. I think the ult with Yodahara runs out. We don't crit there, which is a nightmare. So this is worst case scenario ultimate. Worst case scenario ultimate, it looks like we're not getting the crit. We don't have him broken. So this is not the like most possible damage we could be getting out of this. What are we going to get? And 800,000 goes to 1.6 million, which is probably closer to like 2.5 million, whatever the stamp actually does. And we don't crit with Aizen either, so there you go. A pretty meager last little showing from our goats as we're winding down this run. But you can see that beyond that, I mean, it is sweeps. It's belt to ass. It's wraps. It's everything, dog. Like, and we're gonna try to get one more little oomph in, and boom, finish it off. Okay. So 76 million, it looks like 76 million, 49 million on Kenpachi, 22 million on Aizen. I don't know what else you could want. This is the run. Here's the stats, and we'll move on to the next little bit. But yeah, you can pause here. And yeah, there's Kenpachi. Not too much more to say. I mean, he is a monster, and I felt like that run is or was pretty phenomenal, especially because, like I said, I didn't farm out that run until I got a perfect one. The rotations weren't all there. I definitely missed some ultimates during Aizen's Bankai or Chikai, where I would have liked to have paced those better. I definitely didn't have the Yodahara ult up all the time, so that could have been better. But you can see Kenpachi, a wildly swinging, you know, very damaging DPS character who really does impress after you go through one of those big fights, right? So yeah, I love him a lot. I think he's everything we wanted. I would argue that now that we know how to play him a little better, you know, it's not, like I said, it's not perfect, but now that we know how to play him a bit better, it is sort of funny that he got buffed right on the back end of us finally starting to put up good numbers, just, you know, realizing that he has all these animation cancels, realizing that he has all these spots to switch out. Then he gets buffed, and it's almost like the devs like didn't know that people were going to start like figuring out how to use this character even at B0. So, you know, cross our fingers, we'll take it, dog. We'll take it, right? So yeah, Kenpachi, super fun. I think probably the most fun character in the game right now. He just has big punchy hits. They feel like they're landing, right? They just feel bang, they hit them, you know? So I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, I've been Lone. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the club. We're going to make it, and peace.